everyone, and welcome back to our yearly roundup of all the weird news that has happened in 2023. I'm back today with a few more weird tales from the year just past. This isn't your usual news roundup, this is strictly the stuff that makes you go, what? As quite frankly, the regular news is far too depressing and genuinely terrifying. So instead, we'll be exploring a few lighter, weird and wonderful stories that may have not made it into the regular newspaper. Now, that's not to say that these stories don't dally with the dark side, because they most definitely do, but there's also some light-hearted strangeness too. But don't worry, if anything is going to be hideously awful, then I'll give you a heads up first. So with the disclaimer out of the way, let's jump into September. Before we kick off today's stories, if you are new here, then hi, my name's Nikki and I make podcasts, videos and TikToks about all sorts of weird stuff. So if you're into that, which I have a sneaking suspicion that you might be, then please hit subscribe so we can hang out together again. And if you're not new here, then welcome back, old fiend. Nice to see you again. So for our first story of today, I'm throwing it back to October of 2022 and revisiting the chess cheating scandal because we have an update. I will leave a link to that episode if you want to catch up fully on that story, just in case you missed it last year. But as a very quick overview, Hans Neumann, a chess grandmaster, was accused of cheating in a contest last year, which said he was using now this is the PC version, so I don't get demonetized, but a toy made for grown-ups which has an oscillating movement inserted into an area below the waist. Hopefully you catch my drift and that's not got me flagged. Well, the chess player has now returned to the professional circuit and wants to clear his name and put the whole debacle behind him. Stop giggling at the back, please. I do see you. In an interview with the pink turd that is Piers Morgan, Neumann explained that he had not used the accused method of playing chess, saying to Piers, "Your curiosity is a bit concerning, you know? Maybe you're personally interested, but I can tell you, no." Neumann was banned from playing online chess when he admitted to having used online systems to cheat at the game. He says he has since won at very high levels playing in person without the need to cheat. Magnus Carlsen originally brought a lawsuit against Neumann when he suspected his opponent may have been cheating. But again, for the full context of that story, I suggest you go back to the initial episode I made about it last year, because it is incredibly tense, and who knew that chess could be so exciting? Neumann's $100 million lawsuit was resolved earlier this year, and as a result, Chess.com issued a statement saying that while it stands by its report on Neumann from last October, they want to clarify, we found no determinative evidence that he has cheated in any in-person games. Magnus, off the back of the lawsuit, also came forward to state, "I am willing to play Neumann in future events should we be paired together." However, this magnanimous gesture has been met with disdain by Neumann, saying that Carlsen was trying to bully him. But he has also confirmed that he will also stand up to play his one-time enemy should the situation arise in the future, with Hans saying, "You know it's not going to be the last time that I beat him." So hopefully for the time being, the situation between the chess champions is now somewhat resolved and they can move on to playing their next games in peace and hopefully not vibrating with anger. I'm so excited about this next story. It's, I think, possibly my favourite of all the weird news this year so far, and that's the revelation that Mexico had definitive proof of aliens. Or maybe not. In their first ever congressional hearing about aliens, Mexico revealed in early September of 2023 that they had evidence of the little beings. No one was expecting what happened next when two little mummified alien creatures were presented by journalist and self-professed UFO enthusiast Jamie Moussan. The two alien corpses were presented as definitive proof of people from another world, having once visited Earth, and these fully intact specimens were presented for testing by the government. Now, on first impressions, the creatures look very much like papier-mâché and are a little too imperfectly perfect to look real. This led to many speculating online about the credibility of the specimens and that the two bodies may well have been faked. Several days later, reporters were invited to witness tests conducted by Jose Benitez, a forensic doctor affiliated with the Navy. Previous assertions made by the duo regarding similar specimens have been dismissed by scientists who identified them as mummified human remains, which also begs the question, where are they getting those remains from? Addressing the revelation of this definitive proof after the hearing at a NASA conference, Dr. David Spergel, a NASA scientist, questioned why the pair had not made their data samples public and urged them to do so others could verify the credibility of their claims. Notably, US authorities have recently grappled with inquiries surrounding unexplained sightings, and in July, the US Congress entertained witness testimonies on such phenomena. They also went on to make several of those reports public so people could verify them for themselves. In a recent report by NASA on hundreds of UFO sightings, the conclusion was drawn that there was no evidence supporting the idea that aliens were responsible for the unexplained phenomena. Now fast forward to November of this year, and Jamie was back at Congress again with his specimens for follow-up tests. Interestingly, by this point, people had managed to do some delving on Jamie and his backstory and were able to find out that some previous specimens he had presented, which he said he found in Peru, were, drumroll please, fakes. The specimens from 2017 turned out to be, as I guessed, made from paper and glue. In Peru, the bodies were checked over by the prosecutor's office, but the evidence was never made public. So it's suggested that the specimens Jamie revealed at Mexico City Congress were perhaps the same creations as before. So despite the persistence of Jamie on these specimens being real, it would be quite the coincidence if he'd happened to previously been a fraud and then he would have fortuitously discovered some alien bodies a few years later. Like one of you said in a comment under another episode of mine, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then chances are it's a handmade papier-mâché alien body. The thing I personally love about this is just the sheer gumption of Jamie. He must be so self-assured in his handiwork that he can present these items as real without any fear he'll be discovered, having already been found out before. The audacity knows no bounds. So for now, the little sprinkle of hope that we may find alien bodies has been dashed. So I guess we'll have to keep our eyes on the skies and hope I'll be here in 2024, revealing something more compelling. Our last tale today sounds like something out of a sitcom, but I can assure you it is 100% real. Police were contacted by a panicky passerby when they were on an evening dog walk in the town of Chapel St Leonards in Skegness when they spotted many lifeless bodies on the floor of the local cafe. The Seascape Cafe, which overlooks the beach at Chapel St Leonards, is quite a modern building and provides not only a cafe space but also an art gallery and exercise room. The building, which has some large windows, can be easily observed from the beach, and when one dog walker was passing, they were horrified to see what looked like 30 or so bodies lying on the floor. Panicking, they called the police and reported that a lethal situation had occurred and said they believed it to be, as they said, a mass killing. When police burst in through the door, they were met with just a singular instructor, and the supposed bodies had disappeared. What they'd interrupted was the late night yin yoga session in which participants were completing their final pose, the shavasana, in which you lie down completely still, like a corpse. These yogis were so good at their practice, they managed to convince the passers-by that they had indeed passed on. However, by the time the police did show up, the class had drawn to a close, and so, in fact, the participants weren't disturbed. The class leader did, however, have to explain that what was happening was a candlelit yoga session, in which part of it was a lengthy lie-down, while she played a shamanic drum. She also said she was wearing a flowy outfit, and said she did see the couple staring in through the window at her, but didn't think anything of it until the police arrived. The class, she said, may well have looked like something culty was going on, but she assured the authorities everything was all above board and that the participants had all left and gone home. The concerned dog walkers were reassured and informed of their mistake, and they politely acknowledged this may have been an overreaction, but they thanked the police for investigating. So the next time you're looking to do a bit of downward facing dog and ending up with a lovely relaxing shavasana, it might be worth popping a sign up which says, "Not dead, just resting," so you can protect your peace from any nosy onlookers. Thanks for joining me for that selection of weird stories. I hope you enjoyed them, and if you did, there will be more along soon, so make sure you're subscribed or following if you're not already to keep up with the series. If you like the show and what I make in general and you want it to continue, then please consider becoming a Patreon supporter like our executive Patreon producers, Amy, Christina, Christophe, Kate, Kevin, Lisa, Mary, Meg, Rose, Sally, Sam, Sarah, Teresa, Terri, V and Veronica, and all of our other patrons too. If you sign up to Patreon, you get access to my other podcast, Having a Problem, which is a lot of silly historical-based fun, plus hours of other bonus content too. If you'd rather just send a tip or a little Christmas gift from my Amazon wishlist, then I would massively appreciate that too, and I'll leave all the links in the show notes in case you want to check them out. An enormous thank you for even considering doing any of those things, particularly when I know things are tight for a lot of people at this time of year, so it really does mean the world to me, and I'm always amazed that people want to help me create this creepy empire we can all call home, and it feels very good to know that you do, and I feel very much appreciated, so thanks very much for your help. If you want to share the show around, tell your friends and repost my social media posts or leave a 5-star review, that's all more helpful than you know. Let's make 2024 the year I can finally quit my job and do this full time, because I would love that so much, and you're a huge part of making that happen. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I've been Nikki Druce. Remember to stay spooky, and I'll see you ghouls next time for October.